Hello, Aries, and welcome to your July 2024 forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. This reading, just a quick reminder, can always be used for Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus. Let's get straight into your channeled messages. Today, the beautiful, bright, bold peacock came through in dreams. And to me, this is symbolic not only of partnership, because whenever a peacock shows all of those feathers, it's trying to attract a partner, but it's also just really front, center, and kind of like in the spotlight. I would absolutely connect it with the star, but we could put both the star and the lovers on this just as easily. It's a reminder to be your best and most authentic self, not to have to dim your light, not to have to sort of pull back in any way, shape, or form. Again, the peacock is able to pull in its desired audience by being bright, bold, and right out there. So this is a great month for you to interact with other people, to network. For those of you looking to attract a new partnership, whether it's friendship, love, or a business partnership, this is the month. But just like the title says, be bold and be yourself. The next thing that came through in dreams was salmon, and I was watching as the fish were going upstream from saltwater to freshwater, and basically they were getting ready to lay the eggs for the next generation of fish. And it's an interesting sort of cyclical symbol, because we see something having to push against odds, and then we see it going from one environment to another in order to thrive, and then going back again to the source energy. So that's why I chose judgment, because it's death and rebirth. Sadly, when the parent fish kind of go to the top of the stream to lay their eggs, they die, but they also then create abundance in the water and in the soil. And then again, all of the new sort of generation comes from that and goes back downstream. So there's this cycle of death and rebirth, and also restorative energy to the whole ecosystem. It's kind of beautiful when you kind of take a few steps back and look at it. This month, you're wondering, okay, Nicholas, thank you for the biology lesson. How does it apply to me? First and foremost, you may have to push things a little bit in order to make it happen. I typically never say that, by the way. I always say follow the energetic flow. There are some moments, however, when you're close to the end of something being done, and you may have to push yourself a little bit to get across the finish line. So this may be more of that than anything. But sometimes you do have to kind of like get someone's attention, or really make them see just how passionate, talented, and ready you are for an opportunity. So if you're that close to something happening, absolutely, that last nudge is sometimes the difference that, between success or waiting. The other thing here is adaptability, and that's why I featured that as the title. So even if you're very set in your ways and used to something, if you're asked to kind of like pick up and try something different, work in a different environment, change up your system, it could lead to abundance, and maybe even, a different way of working and being. It's worth the energetic investment to at least try. And in order to sort of like grow, sometimes we have to just be open to new experiences. So that's basically what I see here. And again, judgment to me is a very inspirational card, because it shows this ability to be reborn, to push beyond some sort of old barrier in the past and experience something brand new. So as we look at the cards today, we'll see what new experiences are coming through, and where you may have to push a little bit and where you might be able to thrive. All right, Aries, please close your eyes, clear your mind of anything that you might have brought into this reading, and just allow whatever guidance needs to come through. All right, let's give the cards a shuffle. I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot here, and what's really interesting is I always keep the Ten of Swords in here just so that we can see what's going on, and it looks like something that starts off challenging is going to work out. I can see the stress here, but we have a sunny outcome here literally in the environment. So I'll save full commentary until I read the cards, but I just wanted to explain for those of you that are like, why are there two Ten of Swords? Notice how the top one says everything is fine. Even if it doesn't look or feel like it, it's going to be okay. All right. We have got a really magical and sort of impactful reading here. I can already see it, particularly with this Catalyst card. Let's get into that first and foremost. So as we're looking at this Catalyst card, there are two words on here: the void, which is an empty space or a place where nothing is currently sort of residing, and then ether, which is the sky, the firmament above us. So space. The interesting thing in our universe is there's a lot of empty space between massive objects. If you ever look at an actual photograph taken from space of the distance between the Earth and the Moon, even though the Moon seems like it's right up against this planet, there's a lot of space. Even more distance between the Earth and the Sun. It's just how massive the Sun is. That's why it looks big in the sky. So don't be afraid of space. It's everywhere. Even between like atoms, there's actual space, and things are a lot roomier than you might think. One piece of advice that's coming through loud and clear from Spirit is you don't have to fill up all the space. You don't have to occupy each moment of conversation. If you're able to sit with a certain level of comfort and allow things to start to unfold, it could be advantageous. And this is also saying, if you're not making room in your life for something new, now is the time. We don't want our schedule or our dance card or our life basically detailed down to the millisecond. We need to have some room for our own sort of emotional and energetic growth, but also to discover things. So create the space. That's all this is really about. Ether, sky, breathing. You need some breathing room. You need to reach for the stars as well. There was a reason that I featured that energy of the star. So it's not just because of the peacock, but it's because I want you to really go for gold. Go for the biggest, boldest thing that you can, and know that there's going to be some space between the sort of conception or initial idea and the execution or the actual thing coming to fruition. Let's get started. We're going to begin with the centermost card. It's all about your ability to say no. Also, your focus on creating a better balance or a newfound balance in your life. Justice in the upright position embodies all of that. She is just, she does what's right, she has a good mix of everything, so that sense of balance is everywhere. When the card is reversed, it's reclamation and articulation. So if you don't have the balance, you're going to find the balance, and the way to do that is through thoughts and actions. I just mentioned one of those things. You can just say, no, that's not right, or no, I don't want to do that. You can also fight for something that matters the most to you, and some of you may actually be doing that through a legal matter or a lawyer, etc., and that's fine. That's what this card is all about. Mostly, though, it's just saying it's time to create something that feels like it's more reciprocating your energy, it's more balanced, and it feels right for you. Don't do something if it doesn't feel right. Even if you wanted to, I don't think you could anymore anyway, because crossing the justice reverse, which again can represent just saying no, it's saying, no, I won't ignore this. Because the Eight of Swords can be sometimes us putting a blindfold on or sort of like closing our ears. And so this is saying no longer. I can't pretend that you didn't say or do that. In fact, I want to have a conversation about this. I want to be a part of this. I want to basically own my power. So that's what you're starting to do, is to step into that. The other thing here you can kind of see it in this illustration because we're working with a Rider-Waite-Smith derivative deck. The Eight of Swords can be a prison of our own making, usually closed-minded thoughts like I can't do this, or it won't happen, or I'll never be able to accomplish this. So can't, won't, never, these sort of things close a possibility before it even has room to grow. So you have to give things space to breathe and to be. And when you close your eyes to it, you're not even going to allow it to, like it's basically, if you're worried about failing, this is a guarantee that failure happens because you don't try. So try, it's worth a try this month. In fact, with the Sun card in the environment, it's more than worth a try. It feels like there's a receptive audience. If you're not clear on something, ask a question. If you don't understand something that someone says, or if it's ambiguous, whether intentional or not, just say, help me understand this, or please clarify. That's it. So say no if you need to, ask questions if you can, or if you're not clear on something, and don't ignore things that are starting to come to your attention. They're there for a reason, and hopefully these things are going to help you land on all of this bright energy that we see just to the right. But we need to work through this. So first and foremost, some of you are at a place in your life where you're thinking to yourself, I'm done. I did everything I needed to here. There could be a relationship coming to a close. You might be ready to leave a job. You might be actually in the middle of a move or ready to move. This can also represent, because it's upright and it's one of the best cards also in the major arcana, it can be you graduating through something in a positive way, and it's opening up a new door. Some of you may be going through a little bit of imposter syndrome. So you did all of the work, but now you're still thinking, am I worth it? Yes, you are. But it's part of this process is for you to not be in disbelief. Celebrate it instead. There's a reason that the figure in the world card is not wearing any clothes. The same thing with the sun, not the sun, but the star card. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to fear. Same thing in the lovers. Divinity and nudity go hand in hand in Roman and also like Greek art. If you look at the statues and everything, that is just a sign of power, of strength, and of divinity. So you, just like the peacock, you've earned this moment to be yourself, to shine. Don't hold back. For those of you that are trying to really make a splash, the world card can be that recognition that I'm talking about. It can also be taking your message, brand, or product to an even bigger audience. So there's nowhere to go but upward, like the ether card, and outward. Leave room to grow. Let's get into the most interesting 3 cards here in the whole spread. So we have a 10 of swords here, where the typical sort of energy of feeling like, oh my gosh, it didn't work out, or I failed, or I'm going to fail, could be coming through. It comes through as a more emotional 10 of swords than an actual one, because we can see what's going on here. 10 of swords, stress, and then a card that's showing it'll work out, but there's disbelief that it will work out. So have faith is the first thing that I see, but let's just kind of break all of these down one by one. The first 10 of swords could be indicative of your body just saying, I'm tired. Sometimes we have to get sick and tired, literally. You know, you could be having a cold or some sort of a reaction to a stressful environment. And then there's a realization like, this can't continue. I am so done with this, right? And if that's happened, that's a blessing in disguise. The interesting thing in this 10 of swords is she's focusing on the phone. It's almost as if she's tuning into this world card and is a little bit more concerned about what they have to say than how she's feeling and what she wants. So one thing that I would encourage you to do is to focus on you. What do you need? What do you want? How did you get here? What's the next step going to be? Put the phone down. Focus not so much on the sort of projected thought of what people might think, and focus instead on who you are, how you can make an impact, what it is that you need, and naturally you'll align to this, because in the deep past we already see that you're on the right path. Even if that means someone said no to you or something didn't work out in the way that you wanted, because ultimately it is going to be okay. Even if it isn't right now, or if it doesn't feel like it is right now, because we can see that in the 9 of swords, it will eventually be okay. It's more about you focusing on how this situation is possibly going to open you up to new opportunities. Sometimes we need permission to move on. So when, for instance, if you're laid off or made redundant, or a job just ends, no longer do you have to deal with that feeling of loyalty. Like, well, I can't leave because, what are they going to do without me? Or I said I would always help them. And then suddenly the job is gone and you think to yourself, well, I better start looking out for myself, because now it's time to, and I might as well be happy in the next job too, because this didn't work out. But now you're free. You're free to explore. You're free to discover new things. Same thing in a relationship where maybe you were putting in a lot of effort. This can be just a friendship. I've had this happen before, where you put a lot of energy, a lot of effort. Sometimes you have to tiptoe on broken glass, it seems like. And then ultimately the other friend just decides to ghost you, or you get into a bigger argument and you think to yourself, why didn't I see the signs? You did, but you were trying to fix things. It's okay for things to break. Maybe you need to hear that from me. It's okay if a relationship fell apart. It's okay if a job didn't work out. It's okay if you quote unquote failed at something, because right on the heels of that is success. Let's talk a little bit about the 9 of swords first, and then we'll move on. All right, so in addition to just general stress management, I really do want you to take a look at your sleeping environment and sleeping habits. If things are not going the way that they should, there are sleep studies that you can do. You can talk to your general physician. Of course, meditation and exercise can help out. But one thing that I like to remind people of with the 9 of swords is typically this card is never as bad as it looks. It's just difficult because we're giving something more of it's kind of like an amplifier. We're turning it up to, 11 maximum, beyond max, because 10 is usually max. And it's just sort of like, okay, let's not give it so much mental real estate. Focus instead on other things, on the rising sun in the background, on the affirmative thought, I'm going to get through this, everything is fine, or everything will be fine eventually. And then that welcomes in what we see here with the Three of Wands. So you have a little bit of work to do, Aries, and I always give an honest reading and I give you what you need in order to feel grounded. So to get to the Three of Wands, know that you're already deserving of it. That's what this is about. That it's okay to say no, to say goodbye, to also not have, sort of succeeded initially at something, and not to ignore something. If you're not happy or not feeling well, now you're going to take action to create balance. And the minute you do that, the minute your thoughts turn around and put you in that energy of empowerment, then we have manifestation here in the form of the Three of Wands. So we see the ships coming in from a distant shore. We see this person looking at the bright yellow sky, feeling optimistic, feeling positivity. Interesting that I had here comes the sun, and we have the sun here. And she's looking right into that bright sunny day. What a breath of fresh air that is after what we see here, right? Because we have all of these sort of stressful energies here, and then it turns to brightness. So mind over matter is something to consider. This is usually a card that shows, if not instant, pretty rapid ability to manifest and see things coming through. So things should start to work in the next few weeks, if not the next few months. And this is also associated with travel. So if you need to take a trip in order to have a face-to-face meeting or to launch something, that's what the ships can represent. This is a great period for launching. Both of these cards are associated with traveling and moving from one place to another. As we take a look at how you're showing up this month, it's fantastic. We have the Emperor coming through, and it's basically saying, you've got this. You have the strength, the experience, the wisdom, and even if you don't feel like you have it in this life, you've built it up over past experiences in other lifetimes. This is about tapping into the higher self, the inner wisdom that's there. This can also simply represent a reclamation of power. We see this person literally sitting pretty on that chair saying, I'm ready, let's bring it on. You've done the work. You are aligned right now for this beautiful synchronicity. So see this possibility that's on the horizon and meet it halfway and say, I'm ready. This is a very entrepreneurial card. So if you want to start your own business or launch something, again, these ships can represent launching, absolutely. You may also be stepping into a role of leadership or authority. There may be sort of thematically some interesting sort of karmic cycles coming around leadership, and stepping into that's really the key right now. Okay, so beautiful energy. We have her holding this Ankh, which is power and eternal life and all of that. So if you do this right now, you have the ability for whatever it is that you're putting your energy into to really have some staying power. People are looking to you as a leader, but you have to believe it in order for it to stick. As we look at the environment, there could be someone coming into your life that is a connecting thread. So I always like to look at the Sun card as something that can organize, that can bring things into its gravity, because after all, that's what our sun does in our own solar system. It creates order from chaos. So that could be part of your role this month. That is why you're showing up as the Emperor. This can also be just like it looks like, a little kid that might be crying or a little bit noisy. So the chaos could be someone that has a lot of potential, a lot of maybe even influence or power, but they're acting chaotic, they're disorganized. They need someone to kind of help them focus. Some of you may be stepping into that role in a sort of professional way. So this can actually, just like it can be parent and child, so there might be new parents out there, it can also be mentor and mentee, or like teacher and student. So youth and experience are kind of coming together here, and you're coming through as the wise one this month, the one that can create some order in disorder. It's a time to let go of something, because this can also be something that is overdue. So if you've been waiting to, again, let go of something like a relationship that doesn't feel right anymore, or have you been trying to perfect a project or something of that nature, it's time to birth it. There could be a new baby or new love in the mix here, And it's kind of like, again, something that you can't push back. It feels like it's swimming upstream towards you. Because in many decks, the Sun is a lover's card. And because of its brightness, its intensity, sometimes it's a little off-putting. And this Eight of Swords can be part of that. It's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. Remember this, like energy attracts like energy. Two of the very powerful cards in the major arcana are right next to each other. This is you, this is what you're attracting. So I'm not surprised to see the Sun right above the Emperor. Be open to what's coming to you, you deserve it, okay? Particularly good news, because this is auspicious, and these three cards, actually these four cards, are all good news cards. All right, hopes, fears, and opportunities. Using your voice, finding your voice, developing that sort of ability to speak up. Just like justice, by the way, the Queen of Swords can be legal matters or things of that nature. It's also reversed. So finding balance and like righting a wrong, and then also speaking up for yourself. All of that is coming forth. Queen of Swords, even in the upright position, she doesn't mince words. She says what needs to be said at the right time with just enough. Not sort of being too flowery, not overdoing it, especially so when reversed. So there's nothing wrong with being concise and speaking in clear, even simpler terms, because the more simple and the more clear it is, the less room for confusion or misinterpretation, basically. So sometimes less is more in the world of communication. One thing you want to be kind of cognizant of with this, though, is increased sensitivity. Before delivering a message or taking action, check in with the people around you. Really be as empathetic as possible. That's going to save you a lot of time and energy down the road. Ultimately, this month is all about recalibration for you, and that's probably going to be the title, because this is what I see. A lot of good stuff, a little bit of challenge, and it's all summed up here in your outcome card. Things are actually better than they seem. It just requires you looking at it from a different perspective. In this card, if we look at it upright, she's focusing on all of the things that haven't gone the way that she wanted. Meanwhile, we have love and partnership right behind her. The bridge over troubled water. Things are better than they seem. But just like the positive card here, they're both upside down. So there's disbelief that it's going to be okay. You don't even need those two cards to see that, because in the near future, we have the Three of Wands. We see that you've done the work here, and we have cards of power that are showing up for you and what you're attracting. So all of the key sort of foundational cards here are showing that it's fine. The biggest challenge for many of you is just this waiting game, not seeing it and then getting into your headspace a little bit, okay? So let's not do that, all right? Let's agree to focus on the possibilities. Let's take a deeper dive now into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll start off with health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. So we have ease and grace. Easier said than done, right? Even this card, which, I mean, all of your expanded forecasts except the destiny one, they've been reversed. So there's a lot of recalibrating going on for you. If you can be at peace with what needs to happen and open yourself up to what wants to come forth in the Three of Wands, life is going to be not only easier, but probably more fruitful overall. This reminds me a lot of Temperance. It almost looks identical to the Temperance angel. The only difference is usually there's water, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But the meditative state, the angelic entity, all of that, and taking your time and not going to extremes. So we can take all of that and put it over the lens of health. Slow, steady, easy, gentle. That's what you really want to make sure that you're doing, and graceful, of course. Don't rush into anything. Don't over amplify or exaggerate or react to anything either. One breath at a time, one step at a time. I think meditation is going to help a lot. It's kind of like when, if you ever have an anxiety attack or feel a lot of stress, your chest kind of tightens up. So really practice breathing, closing your eyes, and maybe for some of you, if you're comfortable, rather than this card, you could just imagine a blue sky, because the other word on this one is ether. So just imagine, or a starry sky. You could put little stars in this if you want to, but just give some space to breathe and to allow for new things to come forth. Let's look at this from card by card perspective as what might be going on in your energy, which can then affect your body. So just for many of you, you might be working too hard. You might be playing too hard. Something's out of balance. So reestablishing the necessary balance. If you haven't gotten a hearing test or a vision test for a while, Eight of Swords can represent a need to take a look at that. If there's something going on in your body, get that checked out. Don't ignore it. The Ten of Swords are often chronic pain cards or sometimes just burnout. Take care of your body. Take a day off. When you feel that you might just be at the precipice of getting sick, you're starting to feel like the sinuses drain, your throat's a little bit scratchy, you're just a little tired, that's when you take the time off and take care of yourself. You don't wait until this happens. You tune in, okay? So listen to the small signs, take care of yourself, don't push yourself to the breaking point. Even when things don't go as expected, stress management is going to be key here. If we can get into this mantra, even if it isn't fine, that you're working on this, everything will turn out okay in the long run. Sleep quality and quantity, working with the doctor if needed. Stress management, including meditation, could be very helpful. Other than that, everything else is looking actually pretty good here. Some of you might have just opted for surgery. This looks like, because of these power cards, it looks like it's elective surgery. Give yourself time if you're doing that. It shows me the outcome will be good, but like many of you are expecting it to happen like that, and there could be some frustration over that. Again, we're seeing potential for pregnancy here. And for some of you, it's at a point where you thought maybe the pregnancy wasn't going to happen. So you could also be adopting a child when you're a little bit older. And for some of you, there may be something like IVF, surrogacy, or adoption, because there may be a point where you can't physically birth the child, but you're ready to bring a child into your life. And there's so many children out there that need homes. This is a great sort of thing to do for those of you that are ready and willing to do adoption. But that can actually create some of the stress that we're seeing here as well. Because whether it's your body birthing it or you're going through an adoption process or IVF or surrogacy, it's a lot of stress. It's one of the biggest changes you can go through. And then just giving yourself time to adjust to change. Recent move, recent life change, this feeling of imbalance or uncertainty, and then the dust settling everywhere else. Time. Just give it time. That's the main thing that I'm seeing here. Okay? All right, let's move on to your wealth card. And we have the Awakening Bear here. So some of you are coming out of hibernation. And also, this is saying, don't be bearish on the future, be bullish. So a bear is very conservative. A bear market actually kind of is when things are starting to go down or recede. When you're looking at the possibilities for your own career, your own personal development, better to be bullish than bearish. Now, what we can look at from the bear perspective, since I'm not a financial teacher, bears typically are a little bit grumpy sometimes, and they're very territorial. And I typically, when I look at the symbol, if it's a bear that's awake, I just see them coming out of hibernation. So for some of you, you're coming out of a period of maybe you need rest and you haven't rested, or you're coming out of, sort of maybe taking care of a child or going to school, and there's this new sort of thrust into something uncertain or unknown, kind of like we were talking about with the salmon going upstream. And it's sort of like, can I do it? Will I be okay? Like the first day of school. You will be okay. That's why this came through. But feel free to reach out to someone or lean on someone to kind of help walk you through that step by step. All right, let's break this down into three major categories: those who are employed, those that are job seeking, and then retirees and students. If you are currently employed, in the best of cases, you're going through a challenging situation, you're finding your voice, speaking up, creating necessary change, and this actually puts you in a role of leadership. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but if you're able to thrive and rise up, even in this, again, bringing order to chaos, that's the key to success when it comes to business. Be graceful, be strong, and be clear. That's the Queen of Swords there. That clarity, that power, that vision is going to, this is also a visionary card, that's going to set you apart. Okay? There may be a lack of leadership. The void can just be, it's a mess, but you could enter into that and fill the void. This is possibilities. As we look at everything in the expanded forecast, you get a choice of what you want to put in that void. Okay? We don't want to fill it just for the sake of filling it, but there is an opportunity in business. I don't always see that you can step into an authority or a higher role, but I do here. So that's one thing that came through loud and clear. A blessing in disguise. something could happen and it seems like it's a mess, but you come out of it better than you did when you started. So keep that in mind. There's a completely different trajectory. It's kind of like Jekyll and Hyde for some of you this month. For those of you where it's really, really good, it's great. For some of you, however, you are so absolutely clear, more now than ever, that you're ready for something else. Something has to either give, like you need more support, and you could advocate for that, or you're just done. And I'm looking at the deep past, like very done. And it feels like it's cyclical. You keep having these sort of burnout moments. And it's sort of like no one's listening, no one's paying attention. If you don't feel seen or heard, that's all I need to kind of advise you. It's time to start saying no and stop giving until it hurts, basically. And that's what's going on here. Overwork to the point of, basically burnout. It's not worth it if you're not getting rewarded, if you're not fulfilled at the end of the day. Okay? So some of you are going to be able to bring leadership and order to disorder. Some of you are just done with it. And there's no right path. I'm just seeing that it's two very, very clear paths. At the end of the month, something good is going to happen. Don't focus on the Ten of Swords stuff. Focus on the good thing, because like attracts like, and that optimistic or sort of powerful thinking then starts to bring more of that into your periphery. Okay? Take it easy. Don't work too hard. Ten of Swords isn't just getting sick. It can be distraction to the point of accidental injury. So if you're using any sort of heavy equipment, or even if you're just driving home and you're tired, something like that, you don't want to mix with the Ten of Swords, okay? Take care of yourself. That's all I have to say there. It is manageable overall. I am looking at the Hypnos card. Some of you are tired, and you might even be to the point where you could be busy and bored, or you could be falling asleep at work. If any of this is happening, it's a wake-up call. Literally, it's a wake-up call. No pun intended. All right, let's shift the focus here from those that are working to those that are seeking work. I just read for the weekly collective, and I got a very sort of similar vibe where I'm like, I feel the pain, I feel the frustration. It will be all right, but you don't want to hear that. You're saying, Nicholas, I don't want to hear everything's going to be all right, but you still tuned into this reading. So let me tell you how to turn it around. Here's what I see. For many of you, to make things work out, you do need to change something. That's what I see here. Something isn't working. So the thing that you can change is looking in a different direction. The Three of Wands is only as effective as the person is attentive or receptive to the options. This is a chance for you to really start to explore different places. It could be a different industry, a different geographical location. And for some of you, it's even just thinking in a different way, like, well, I never imagined that I might be able to be a creative person or a leader or whatever. It could just be changing up the role too. So see yourself in a different sort of category or a different light, and that's going to get you out of this as well. So you don't need to hear it from me, but I will say exploring different sort of templates and different options can only help you see more possibilities. It's recalibration. So taking the skill set and thinking, would it apply to this industry or this job title? Or could I create something completely different? Job seekers, you could actually be the next round of entrepreneurs. You might be launching your own business. It could be a global success or a viral success. And this is definitely entrepreneurial as well. Or it could be a 2-person company, or 2 or 3 people, actually, as we're looking at this. 3 sort of leaders here all together. So you could do a very small business if you wanted to as well. You might be saying, where else can I find employment opportunities? This is friends and family, the Sun, very close to you, possibly classmates, because there's a youthful vibe to it. I would also say it's important to try to find a gathering, because I'm looking at those ships coming in. So if there's a professional event, a social gathering, something with if you went to school, like an alumni sort of association, all of those things kind of gel. Your voice is also something that comes across here. Communication abilities, written. If you have any special sort of writing skills, definitely bubble that up as well. And that's everything I see here for job seekers. Can you find it? Yes. It might involve a move. We have 2 pivotal moving and traveling cards. So if you're willing to go the distance, there could be more employment opportunities. Okay? For those of you that are students, wow, I see the stress, the burnout, possibly. Some of you want to take some time off, possibly, and maybe, or just take a very light semester load. I think it's important to recalibrate. Don't make any decisions in this energy right now. Take a break, at least a 2 to 3 month break to recalibrate, and then approach whatever it is you want to do next. I think that as you look at the next student calendar year, more for you, possibly a travel abroad. I've been talking about this in many signs, but this is literally traveling, or an internship. So kind of like changing the focus from just tests and book knowledge and all this other stuff to a bigger, broader, brighter sort of realm of possibilities. You need something else. Something's missing, literally. So you could change the major if you want to. You could change the focus. And by the way, not everybody is meant to go the traditional student path. You may be saying, Nicholas, it's not for me. That's okay. There are so many things right now where you don't need that. So you've got to follow your own light. You've got to create your own path, okay? Just do the research, and when people say, are you sure? You can say, yes, I'm sure. I did the homework, right? Retirees, I feel like many of you are also in a period where you're like, I need a break from people. This could be your family. This could be environmental stresses, and you're like, let's plan a trip. Let me meet up with a bestie. Let me just spend some time on my own. This emperor's pretty solo, right? And for many of you, there's a chance to rebound. I can kind of hear like Cher's song, Life After Love. We'll be looking at relationships in a moment, but some of you are like, there's something better. This is a mourning and recalibration. So you're thinking to yourself, enough of that. I really want to find the joy, the fun, the celebration in life. And that nicely brings us into love. And with love, we have the gift, a hidden gift, if you will, here. So the gift card is sometimes like the 4 of Cups. Here, even in the 5 of Cups, it's right there behind the person, but they have to be willing and able and ready to see it. So focusing on this for a moment longer, for many of you, there is something that where you're thinking to yourself, I need to let go. I need to let go of this relationship, this person, this feeling that things have to be a certain way in relationships. And when you do that, lo and behold, we have 2 cups, the 2 of Cups. So this is a chance where love can step into your life once you've done the healing. So let's go ahead. We'll look at the cards here in just a moment, but we're going to look at it in 3 different areas. Those of you in a relationship looking for love, or single and happy. For those presently in a relationship, the biggest challenge right now is feeling seen and heard. Literally, this card has blindfolds going around the eyes and ears. So sometimes you're talking to someone and it goes in one ear out the other and they're not really processing it. Or they see you, but they're not really appreciating or valuing what you're bringing to the relationship. Vice versa, there may be an opportunity for you to express a little bit more gratitude. There could be inequity in the division of responsibilities. There could also be this feeling that there's only one way. It's right or it's wrong. It's me or it's you. All of that needs to give. Even in the most healthy relationships, there could be a little bit of opportunity just to say, I thank you, I love you, I see you, and also listen to their perspective, even if it's something that you don't immediately agree with. With the 2 10 of Swords here, there's also a message to try not to meet an agitated state with an equally agitated state. Go instead into a place where you're just holding some space. At the very least, you can just let someone talk and vent and then say, do you want my feedback, or how can I help you? Or, I've had a really rough day too. Can I share what I've been through? Use that sort of neutral tone rather than kind of like agitating and elevating. And because with 2 10 of Swords, that could happen. Crossfire is what I'm seeing. Not intentional, but nonetheless, it could be a little bit chaotic and not necessarily conducive to solving the problem, okay? For both of you, stress management is probably what's leading up to this. So just do your best to decompress, lean on others, get support that you need. And then when you're coming to the relationship, really just be there as partners rather than trying to mop up whatever's going on, in the environment. A lot of times this is from friends, family, work, or other stress. Children could also be one of those stressors. Like I said, if it's a blessing, but it's also a big life adjustment. So if you just had a baby, this is you trying to figure out how to get some sleep. Doesn't this make sense? This could be a crying baby, and then you feel like crying yourself. You're like, oh my God. This can also indicate the partner or a family member. The sun in reverse is basically someone who needs a lot and will take as much as they can get. And so it's really important for you to have boundaries and to know just how much you can give in this situation. Listening is just as important as speaking, and the Queen of Swords can sometimes act or speak before getting the full story. So again, that's the key thing here. Near future and outcome are okay though. This is eventually being able to see it from a different perspective. And the Five of Cups here, this is the recalibration. Something may seem like it's a big deal, but there's still the love and the support of the relationship. And at the end of the day, that's really what you want to focus on. One final piece here, and this is for those that are getting out of a relationship. I think it's going to be really important for you to lean on the legal counsel. Some of you may be embroiled in a dispute for property, for possibly custody, and maybe it's just for the division of, what's yours and what's mine. But this is acrimonious. This is basically an argument. So we have two lawyers here. Let them do the talking. Take yourself out of that equation. Things will work out. It may not be everything you want, but it will work out in the most optimal way that way. Definitely avoid unnecessary communication. Okay. Now moving on for those of you that are single and looking. If you're single and looking, the main thing here for some of you is there's either a fear of rejection, or there's been some rejection, or maybe you're on a little bit of a rebound and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know if I'm ready, or I don't know if I really want something too serious. So here's the interesting news. You still have people coming through, even if you're in that sort of doubtful state. We have possibly someone that has a child, but this could also just be a very young at heart, playful energy. If we kind of merge these together, it could be someone who is about the same age, but has that joyful, youthful, maybe even slightly immature side, and they speak sometimes without thinking. It could be fun because this is someone who has a great sense of humor, wicked wit or whatever, but sometimes it's inappropriate. So just be mindful of that. Think to yourself, is this going to cause troubles between the two of us down the line? Because it's funny when they're just kind of, playing comedian, but if they're not able to listen or read cues, that's something to be mindful of. Here are the types of people that I see coming in. Someone from a different circle, it could be from a different city, state, country, or province, someone that is visiting from out of town, someone that you don't normally cross paths with, but is coming in your direction. We have an air sign that is coming forth pretty strong here. And like I said, they are outspoken. They know who they are. They may or may not be connected to a kid as well. You're coming through all right, though. It feels like just be willing to set out expectations. This is what I want. This is what I expect. And hold space for them to show up. Don't accept anything less than that. I feel like you can be discerning. There are more than one options, more than one ship that is coming through. And if things didn't go well in the previous relationship, it's about letting go of that, because I'm not seeing it so much in the present or the future. For those of you that are single and happy, for many of you, it's a moment of healing. You may be dealing with recovery from some health challenges, even possibly from a relationship, like I said, that you're rebounding from. The main thing here is you get to say no. You don't have to go to every invitation. You don't have to do everything everybody asks you to do. There's a chance for you really to figure out what it is that you want. Travel, very loud and clear coming through here. It's a great time to do so if that's something that you're interested in. And you have a gift. For some of you, it could be artistic. There could be a leadership gift. This is a chance for you to teach, to share, because these are teaching, mentorship, and speaking cards, and this is a captive audience. So this is a great time to give back in the form of leadership, mentorship, public speaking, etc. As we take a look at destiny here, Hypnos, God of Sleep, came through. We can take it at face value. Some of you may simply be in need of a vacation. It's not surprising, because when we look at the crowning cards here, it's the dynamic duo of the Nine of Swords and the everything is fine version of the Ten of Swords. But basically, Stress could be taken away from sleep, and it's kind of this recursive cycle because then that builds more stress. So finding a way to have a healthier sleeping schedule is key. This could be exercise, this could be talking to a counselor. For some of you, it might be even omitting the source of the stress, which could be getting a different job or saying no to some of the things on your plate because, again, when we looked at the center here, we have justice, reverse, which is creating better balance, saying no, standing your ground, okay? This could also just be you awakening. I mentioned when I was looking at the bear, particularly a reverse bear, this could be about, waking up, coming out of hibernation. And for some of you, since that is in career, it could be waking up to a new purpose or a new desire or a new dream. So this is kind of reminding you that some of you might be in that sleepy phase or sleepwalking or maybe going through a little bit of boredom, and this is a chance to awaken, okay? Pay attention to your dreams too. If you're like me, a lot of messages, intuitive messages can come through. It's a very powerful time for intuitive development. Okay, let's go ahead now and go a little bit deeper into the areas of sun, rising, and moon and see what's in store for you. Aries sun, rising, there we've got judgment, and moon. I talked about the cyclical cards. We got both of those cyclical cards there, which is exciting. Let's begin with sun sign messages first. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. The recalibration moment for many of you has to do also with allowing yourself to be happy. This is kind of bizarre that we need to do that sometimes, but parents, society, friends, even our partner, there can be a lot of people in our life sometimes that will make us feel bad for doing what we want. And in this moment, Spirit's coming through and saying, it's your time, it's your moment. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling heavy emotions, increase sensitivity, honor that, do what you need to do to find your sort of stability again. This can be new love coming into your life, again, at an inconvenient, an unexpected time, or just in a way, shape, or form that takes you by surprise. This is also your ability to be very creative if you have a place and a way and a time to sort of channel that. It actually helps us reconnect with the Catalyst card because when you create space for things, you're more capable of receiving, also interpreting it and doing something beautiful with it. So create some space in your schedule, honor whatever comes through, and try not to judge it. As a fellow artist and creative person, a lot of times ideas will come to me out of the blue at a strange time, and I don't question them. I'll file them away, and then later they kind of move together like a tapestry and it all makes sense. So just try to capture what you channel and keep me posted on how it all comes together. What a beautifully synchronistic card coming through for the rising sign. We have Judgment here. This can represent for many of you a chance to move through a difficult situation, come out in a better space. This is you learning a karmic lesson and saying goodbye to that, really feeling like you're able to face any challenge, any opportunity. Speaking of that, this can also be a second chance coming your way. Now, if you remember, I talked about this at the beginning, and it connected to the energy of the salmon, which sometimes had to go upstream or against, what everyone else wanted or expected. But as a result, this opportunity for growth and rebirth happened as well. It's worth the time and energy that you put into something if you believe in it. And this is your chance to also answer that higher calling. That's what Gabriel represents. Great time for communication, also connecting you to the Queen of Swords in reverse. The question here is, are you ready to be heard? Are you ready to be seen? Because if you are, you can make a splash. We have the Wheel of Fortune coming through in the reverse state for the moon sign. This represents a change of karma and a change of financial status, especially for those of you that have been challenged. There could be incoming opportunity here, but it does require, or at least encourage you, to look at all the options in front of you and to speak up if there's something that you want. And if you're not being treated fairly or if something isn't right, you can advocate for that. You are the agent of change if you want the change to happen. I usually don't turn the camera down for these single cards, but they're very related to Justice and the Queen of Swords in reverse. What I like about this is things can work out. There can be some happy surprises here. And you're worth it. One thing that I need to bring up when this card comes through reverse is sometimes there's just the understanding or the wrapping your head around your internal value. So really focus on self-worth. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Everybody else, this is also just a reminder to get a firmer handle and understanding of your budget, where you're spending your time, your energy, and all of your resources for that matter. And there could just be something new coming into your life that is changing up how you're sort of balancing everything out. So if it's a baby, it's how much time and energy goes into work and other things. If it is an investment like a new house or some travel, you have to do a little bit of reallocating, and that's really what this is. Now it's time to take a look at the final question for today. This can be anything that you still need some clarity on in any aspect of your life. So hold that question in your heart and mind, and let's see what Spirit has to say. Fantastic. The 10 of Pentacles, one of the best cards you can get when it comes to especially finances, but this is also good for marriage. It's also good for contracts. So what we're seeing here is a chance for things to come to fruition, for things to also stick around for a while. Especially I'm seeing like a signature on a dotted line. So this is a good moment in time for you. Remember what I said just a few moments ago for that Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Recalibrating things and thinking, I'm ready and I'm worth it. That can be another part of this Five of Cups energy, a chance to see things from a different perspective and welcome something in. So again, for yes, nos, this is a yes. And again, this can represent new contracts, new love, new opportunities, and abundance. What a great way to end this particular reading. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for your patience this month because I did work in opposite order. If you enjoyed this, please give me a like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Let me know what resonated and let me know what's going on in your life this month, where the big sort of push would be for creating balance, maybe some of the challenges that you're experiencing. I do enjoy seeing what, again, is resonating with you. Feel free to follow me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. You can always go to my website for official links or the main channel page here on YouTube. If you want to show love and support, you can do it through super stickers, super chat, and memberships. Just a quick reminder, I don't offer private readings, nor do I use direct messages. So if you see anybody on social media doing either of those two things, just block and report. It's not me. And that, my friends, is everything for today. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube, for spending the last 50 minutes or so with me. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you soon.